Today's daf is Masechtas Gittin Daf Tes. So we are at the bottom of Ches Amavez, 5 lines from the bottom, the second word on the line when it says Ella Amarava. I'm sorry, no, it's not what we're up to. We're up to Amar Le Rava, which is 8 lines from the bottom, the third to last word on the line. So, okay, so we're actually a few lines later, but let's go back to Amar Le Rava. The Gemara said Amar Le Rava Bishlam and Chasen Lo Likni Mida Havakim Shtar Stavala Atzma Likni. Why shouldn't he be kind of himself? Even without having a kiyum, when the Eved himself brings a shtar shechur from the Adin. So the Gemara said, Echad Zeva, Echad Zeva, whether it says in the shtar, there were 2 cases we had, 2 scenarios with two amiras, kind of, that the Adin could write to his Eved, 2 lashonos of shechur that he could write. Either he could write kol nechasai kanuyin lecha. So when he writes kol nechasai kanuyin lecha, it's an all-inclusive lashon. It's including shechur and at the same lashon he wants to be makna to him as the chasim the adin. And then he could also say atzmacha u nechasai kanuyin lecha. He could specify both the shechur for Cheres, for the Eved, and the Nechasim. So Rav is coming out. Rav is saying, on both of them, whether he said Atzmacha Nechasim or he said Kol Nechasai, we say that he's kind of himself a Cheres, but Nechasim is not kind of, as long as there's no Kiyim on the Shnar. And Shana Rav is saying that it goes to the din of Palkin on Dibura. And that's how we split up his dibur, and we say that it works for the cheres, but not for to be kind as the chasim. However, Abaya held that you don't say palkin and dibur at all, and none of them work for kinyan. Doesn't work for cheres, for shtar shechur, or to be kind of the chasim for the other. So now the Gemara is going to ask a kasha on Rava. So frek the Gemara Shaila. Amar lei Rav Ada bar Masna l'Rava. Rav Ada bar Masna asked the kasha on Rava. Kaman means who you Rava, who you going like? Which sheet? Does like the Gemara? Rav Shimon the Amar Palgin in the Bura Pashas. You going like Rav Shimon? It says that there's a din of Palgin in the Bura. When somebody says a dibur, you could split it into 2, and you can say one chelik of the dibur is the sky, and the other part is not the sky. The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah where do we find this? We find in the Mishnah in Peah, Parakil, and Mishaches. It says, Kaizav Konachasav La'abd, if somebody writes all his assets to his Eved, Yatza ben Chayr, so he goes out free, because it's also included in the Chasim, and he's kind of himself and the rest of the Chasim, that his master writes for him. However, Zak the Mishnah, Shi or Karka, what happens if the Adam leaves out of that either some karka or matalpon, kolshu, a little bit. So he writes, let's say, kol nechasai k'nuyim l'cha chutz mekarka achas. Halacha is, in that case, lo yatzam n'chayim. It doesn't even go out free. Why? Because we say, it's just like maybe the Adon left out from all nechasim for himself, a karka or matalpon, so too, maybe he left out the Eved. From this one he said, kol nechasai k'nuyim l'cha, his kavana was only to just be machnef the Eved, ki'ilu is being meshachrim, is giving him nechasim. So that's Shittas Tanakam, which is Rameir. Like when it's the Gemara later on. But the Mishnah of Shimon Shimon says no, La'ilam B'chayrin, he's always been Chayrin, and in any case he goes out L'chayris, even if the Adon is Mishayim himself, Karka Kalsho. And it doesn't say which Karka. We don't say that his Kavanah is also Mishayim the Ayaved, rather we say his Kavanah is only to Mishayim the Karka. Ad Shiyar Mekana Chasan Nechusuyin Leploini Avdi, Chutz Me'echad Ribi Shemahem. So he's kind of himself a cheres until the Adon says that you're kind of yourself. He tells Eved you're kind of yourself until the Adon says a lashon chutz me'echad ribi shebehen from he says he doesn't specify what, but he says some kind of value he's leaving out. So in that case, we're afraid that maybe it's kavanas for the Eved and maybe it's not Yetzel Acheres. So because Reb Shimon chaps on a lashon la'olam, and even in a case where the Eved is not zeich an all kakois, if it says chutz b'karka kolshu, and doesn't say which karka, so in Mela is a suffix that maybe the Adon left over for himself. So you can learn out. So it's clear that normally Reb Shimon holds Pagin and Debura. So frakti Gemara of Amar of Yosef Armin Yume Amar of Nachman Yosef Armin Yume Nachman says Afal Pisha Kiles of Yosef Reb Shimon, even though Reb Yosef praised Shitas Reb Shimon, Mikal Malka and Allah is not like Reb Shimon, rather Allah is like Reb Meir, that Allah is that the evidence is not going to the Cheres because you don't say Pagin and Debura. So frakti Gemara, how could Rava go with the Shita of Paskin like Reb Shimon at Pagin and Debura? Rabbi Yosef Bar Newman says, Amar Nachman, that we paskin like Rameir and we don't say Pagin and Dibur. Zok the Gemara the Tanya, because we learned in the Brayz, Shenamru Dvarim, when these words were said that Reb Shimon hold Pagin and Dibur l'fnei Rabbi Yosef, so Karlo Mikrazeh, he said on this pasuk in Mishlei Perich Avdal pasuk Avav, Svasayim Yishak Meshiv Dvarim Nechoichem. That somebody that says true words, it's roi to Menashe to kiss him. So this is where you see Rabbi Yosef praise Shitas Reb Shimon of Pagin and Debura. So reflecting Gemara, Miyamar Reb Nachman Hachim, Reb Nachman Taka say like this, that the halacha is like Rameir, and you don't say Pagin and Debura. But Amar Rabbi Yosef Bar Newman Reb Nachman, as we know, Nachman says, Shchiv Merah, somebody that's on his deathbed and is about to die, Shekasal Kon Achasav La'avdoi Va'amad. He wrote all his nechasim over, all his assets over to his eved, and he got healed. Choyzer ba nechasim, so he's allowed to backtrack on the nechasim, on the matanas that he gave his eved when he was sick. But choyzer ba eved. However, the eved is meshucher and he can't be choyzer. So Zok Rav Nachman, what's pshat? Choyzer ba nechasim. Why is it choyzer ba nechasim? Because man shchimra. Because man shchimra, he only gave it to his eved. Almanas that he thought he was gonna die. But if he was going to survive, then he's allowed to be chayzer. If any chayzer be'eved, he's not allowed to be chayzer on the eved. Sheyatzal l'shem ben chayrim, because the eved already got a name that he's a ben chayrim, and that name is mekadosh the eved with kedushas Yisrael, and he's not allowed to be mishav with him anymore. So, and in that case, Chachamim held and understood that if once a guy is mishacher his eved, without clearly specifying that it's only because of his death, in that case he's still going to be meshucher. So kumtois, you see clearly over here of Yosef Nachman saying the halacha of shchimera, that we are Pagin and Debura over here, you see in this case, because the shchimera said kol nechasa, and we split his words. We say it's only in the miskayim, only in the gabe the shecher, not in the gabe his nechasim. So you see Rav Nachman holds that you do say Pagin and Debura. Zok Gemara, Amar Rashi, that no, other Rav Nachman holds halacha that you do say Pagin and Debura. But Hasam, Lagabe, Kaisim, and Nechasav La'avdoi, the reason our mayor holds that the Eved is not yet to the Cheres, Mishum the love Kurski to who. The reason is because the get is not being Kairis, and it's not separating the owner from the Adon on the Eved, because in a case where the Adon includes the Eved and his Nechasim all in one sentence, and he writes in the shtar, like we see in the Mishnah Peah Paragil Mishnah Ches, he writes Kol Nechasav Chasa Yila Ahdi. So the reason why our mayor holds that it's not Chal is because it's missing in Krisis. So not because you don't say Pagin and Debura, just because the shtar is not Kairis. However, when it tells the Eved, and being that the Adam left over something, so we're afraid that, so that's what makes it not Krisis, because it's not totally separating himself from an Eved. So it's a felt in the shtar, but not because of Pagin and Debura. Masha'ik, when it says Kol Kanasei L'chu Nesuyin L'cha, Kenuyin L'cha, which according to Rava, he's kind of himself a shechur, but not the nechasa. And the reason why he goes out the cher is because the shtar is kuris. Because in lashon shtar, it's clear that he wants him shachar or zevin. Even in Meir is masking in this case that he's yotzel lecheres. And the schchi and nechasim does not help with the dibur because you have to have a kiyum like all shtar imam. And palkin and dibur only helps so much for the shechur, but not further to be zoich and nechasim. So basically, the Gemara is saying that Rav Nachman Taka agrees that you do say palkin and dibur, like Rameir. And the reason is a different reason because it's not krisis. In the case of Mishnah Peah, that's why the Eved is not kohen himself even v'shechor. It has nothing to do with palgin and debura. Zok the Gemara weiter. The Mishnah says that if somebody brings a get from makom l'makom eretz Yisrael, does not have to say for nechtam. So the Mishnah said, "Yesh olav ayrin." If on such a get there's ayrin makom l'makom in eretz Yisrael, like for instance the Baal's ma'ar and he complains that it wasn't in l'shmo, it's mezuyev. The halacha is yiskayim b'chisamav. You can be kind to get the two signatures in it, or other Eidim come and say they will recognize the signatures. Frekti Gemara Ar Kama. How many Eidim do you need in order to ma'ar the Eid that's inside the get? Ile ma'ar achad. If you can say it's enough with one Eid echad that's coming to ma'ar. About Rabbi Yechon Dibra Kol and Ar Baks Shnayim. Yechon says you can't have that error doesn't have any value if it's less than two people being ma'ar. Zok Gemara Al Trey. About you say that two Eidim are coming to be ma'ar on this get. So Frekti Gemara Ibizoi Trey Nenu. So my chaz is some chasahani smechahani. Why being saimach on the error of the two Eidim coming to ma'ar? Maybe being saimach on the other ones. Chari should blind with a suffix. So Gemara ba'ar the Baal. It's talking about that the Baal is ma'ar to say it's mezuyif or that it wasn't in l'shma. And when Me'el of Eidim come and made on the chasimus of the Eidim on the get, then you merely believe them, the two Eidim, and not the Baal. Zok the Gemara weiter. Oh, so we have a new Mishnah now. So the Mishnah here is going to discuss more halachas lagabe fan nechtam, bringing a get, and when someone brings a shtar shechur of Eved Kanani from Dinas Hayam. So Zok the Mishnah, maybe get from Dinas Hayam. Someone brings a get from Dinas Hayam to Eretz Yisrael. And he's not able to say nechtam. So if there's in that sign, then he's kind of the chasimus and gets kasha. Now echagit enashim echashchur avadam. Zok the Mishnah shavu lamayla chulamevi. Sai git enashim and sai shechur avadam. A shtar that's mishachar the freeze and eved is equal to somebody that's malach get Eretz Yisrael to chutz laaretz ulamevi. Someone brings him chutz laaretz to Eretz Yisrael. Lagabi the din that they both have to say in amira v'fan nechtam. And that's one of the ways that shechur avadim is similar to gitei nashim. They both have to say v'fan nechtam and bring their get from chutz laaretz to Eretz Yisrael. So Zok the Gemara. The Mishnah said, what happens if somebody comes, brings a gem to Niziyam, and he can't say Fan Nechtam Nechtam. Zok the Gemara, for which reason can he not say Fan Nechtam Nechtam? Ilema Cheresh, that he doesn't hear and he doesn't speak, so he's deaf mute and has done like a shaita. Cheresh bar Gitu, could he bring a get? Does he kasha bring a get? Vatana, we learned in the Mishnah later on. Hakol Kshein Lahaves I get. Everyone's kasha bring a get. Chsar to Cheresh do a katan. So Amar Rav Yosef, rather Rav Yosef says, Achamayaskin is talking about kasha son-in-law, that the shliach gave the isha the get kishu pikeach. He gave it to him when he was healthy, he was fine. But he did not get to say in front of nechtam until he got to Eretz Yisrael, and by that time he was already a cheresh, and now he doesn't have das. So really he can't say in front of nechtam, and the only way to machshir the get in that case is to mekayim the chazimus. Zok the Gemara weiter. So Mishnah said they're equal. Lagabe this halacha, v'fan nechtam. Tana Rabbanan, Mishleish Drachim. The Rabbanan learned in three ways, in three halachas. Shav Gittin Nashim Shchur Avadim. They have the same din. Gittin Nashim and Shchur Avadim. One is Shav L'Mayach L'Mevi. Lagabe the Amir of v'fan nechtam, like we said in the Mishnah. The second halacha is v'chol get sheyesh olav eid kusi pasol. If the get has a signature of an eid kusi, 1 eid is kusi. So it's pasol. So that's a halacha by every star. If it has a signature of a kusi, it's pasol. So besides chutz Gittin Daf shechrurei avadim, that if one of the signatures on a get or a star shechur is a kusi, the halacha is it's kasha. Zak the Gemara, another halacha. The kol ashtaris ha'olam ba'arkoi shel avichavim, all shtaris that go in courts of avichavim, alfi shechismeyen avichavim, even though the signatures are avichavim, the shtaris aksherin, they're kosher. Why? Because b'nei noyach ha'huzara an dinim, and they have to be mekayim b'din dinim in order to judge. They have to have courts and judges. Even there dinim mamas and mam l'chaveres. So therefore, you say dinim machus dina, and there is value to shtar that's done in our koyes of the chavim. Even if the giver and the makabel of the shtar is yidden, it still works. So besides zaktim braysa chutz Gittin Daf shechura avadim, just like by get isha that's written in goyisha courts is possible, like we're going to explain later on, so too a shtar shechur that's written in our koyes avicham is also possible. That's the third halacha where shtar shechur is equal to gittin. And zakti gemara chadivrei meir ba'aba, according to our meir, they're equal in 4 ways. Why? What's the fourth halacha? Like we see in the mission later on, the Yirav and Beis, ha'omer tein get zel ishti. If somebody the guy tells a shliach, give this get to my wife, shtar shechur zel avdi, and then the v'ratzalach, he wants to be chayzer. B'shneim, the halacha is yachz, is allowed to be chayzer. And the shliach can't say that he's already zoicha in the get or the shashach. They were a mayor, that's a mayor shita. And the reason is because he holds that it's a chayiv for isha to get megureshes, and it's a chayiv for ever to go out lecheres. Ain't chavan l'adam shloi b'fanav. You can't make a shliach to mafsed someone unless you appoint him. So immediately it could be chayzer if they want. Mashing the Chacham over there argue on Ramir the Mishnah, they hold that only by a get the Baal can be chayzer, but by a shtar shechur he can't be chayzer. And the reason is because Ramir holds that it's a schus to ever to go out to cheres. Shliach is zeicher shtar, and zachalon and shalei b'fanav. He holds it's not a chayiv, it's a zchiyah. And Ramir in that case he holds that dafka by shtar shechur the other cannot be chayzer, only by get the husband can be chayzer. So frakti Gemara Bishlam the Rabbanon Minyana Lamute Hadar Meir. Bishlan Kod Rabbanan said there's 3 similarities: get isha and shtar shechur. So that's why it said a minyan. There's 3 to Mayit or Meir. Or a Meir Minyana Lamute Mayit. What's a Tana come to Mayit? Zakti Gemara Lamute Hadar Tana come to Mayit. This that it says Eidim she'ein yodim lachtem, Eidim that do not know how to sign the signature. Mekar lehan yar chalak. You could scratch in their names with a knife at the end of the get. You could outline it. And then the Eidim go ahead, even though they don't know how to write the signatures, they could just fill in the space with ink. Amar B'Shem Gamliel, Medvar Amur, when do you say that? That's Dafka B'Gittin Daf. Shchura Avadim, Sharkal Stars, Shchura Avadim, all their stars. That's a no chashash igan. The whole heter is only by get because we don't want the woman becoming anguna. But other stars and shechurim yoidin likoris v'lachtim, they know how to read and sign and chaysim and lav, then they cannot sign in the star. So that's the difference. So frekting more kriya man dechashmei. What's Rav Shimon Gamliel saying in yoidin likoris v'lachtim? Who said anything about reading? We're talking about signatures. So Dr. Chasur Mechsero is missing some words on the Bryce, and this is how you have to read it. Eidim Shein Yodim Likor, so we don't know how to read Karin of name. You read in front of them, the Chaisman, and they could sign. Shein Yodim Lachtaim and Karin. If they don't know how to sign, then you could outline it for them. Shimon argues and he holds that this din is only said by Gittin Nashim, but by Shtar Sharas and Shchura Avadim, they could sign only if they know how to read and to sign. Zok the Gemara Vaita, V'su Lekas. Now the Gemara is going back to that brisa. We said that there's 3 similarities and 4 according to Rameir. So, for Gemara V'su Leka, isn't there another halacha that's similar? Well, Ika, you have a din that we see later on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. If somebody says, give this get to my wife, we'll give the shtar shich to my Abed. Umeis, and the husband or the Adin dies. Allah is la yidun lachamiza. You should not give it lachamiza. And the reason is because the gerushin is only chal once the get reaches the woman's hand, and at that time the husband is dead already. And you can't have gerushin lachamiza to the baal. So too by shtar shich, you can't be shtar Abed after the Adin died. Masha'en Kain, a shchiv mara that's about to die, is on his deathbed, and he says tnu mana leploini umeis. The halacha is you get to lachamiza. You do give it lachamiza. Why? Chacham misakin that the words of shchiv mara ksuv and umasur and dami, meaning to say that we say that the shchiv mara wanted to give it, only Aldas is going to die, and it's already kilu. It's given already mechayim. So, for the Gemara, why did the Mishnah say this halacha that get shechor and isha are equivalent? The guy, they both cannot be done lachamisa. Zak the Gemara, kiktani, most of the less of the stars. We only said halachas that are not knowing by other stars, besides forget and shtar shechor. But most of the stars, halachas that are said also by stars like kitani, and this halacha is also knowing by shtar matana, because the shchim rather wants to give karka as a matana to somebody, and he tells his shliach, give this shtar matana to somebody, and he dies. The halacha is he should not give it la'achar misa. So that's that being in the case where a shchimra gives a shtar matana. But if the shchimra says tenu mana l'plain like we had before, apparently that is considered that it was already given mechayim, like we had. Okay, so we're talking about specifically l'chara in a case where shchimra is giving a shtar matana, not that he says tenu mana l'plain. So zakti gemara. So that's why we didn't say that halacha. Okay. The shalach, where do we see this halacha? The shalach Rav sent in the name of Rabbi have a yoidin. You should know. Shalach Rabbi Lazar l'goyel mishum Rabbeinu. Rabbi Lazar sent l'goyel mishum Rabbeinu. Name of Rav. Shchimerash Amar Kisvu. It says that write a shtar to give something to Laplaini. It was snu mana Laplaini. You give the karka that's worth a mana to somebody who mace and he dies. Ain't kaisim v'naisim. And although you say that divrei shchimera is k'ksuvin and masur and damim, kol l'maisa v'choishish that Shem alay gamar la'kanaisai. Maybe he did not have a mind to be makna. Ella b'shtar, only b'shtar. Ve'ein shtar la'chamisa l'maisa l'gabi specifically l'gabi shtar. Just like we just said that it can't be chal la'achar misa. And instead, this karka, as soon as the shchimera dies, it goes over to the Yerushalayim and it can't be makna anymore. In fact, more of a ikka l'chari is another case that they're equal shchura avan get because l'shma, the guy been doing l'shma. It's like more bishlam l'rabo. It's not shver because hainu mo'lecha mevi. Because halacha that it has to be written l'shma is included in the halacha that get is equal to shtar. The guy been mo'lecha mevi. They have to say fanech fanechtam according to Rabbi the tam takana. That's what kin l'shma. A rabo that it has to do. It's not because of Lishma, so that's Taka Kasha, Frekting Gemara. Wanted to Tana count Lishma. The Su Frekting Gemara, Bein L'Rab, Bein L'Rava, Ikam Mechuber. L'Chur is halacha that you can't write a get on something that's Mechuber L'Karka. Because it says in Dvarim, Perach of Dal, Pasuk Aleph, Kosal L'Sefer Krisos, V'Nasam Yada. And Chachamim learn out from this Pasuk that the get has to be royal in the Sina as soon as you write it. And a get that's Mechuber, you have to cut it. And the ktsisa is being mafsik between the ksiva and the sina. And huadin a shtar gets shechor is not that it can't be written in mechuber because learn how to get shechor from get isha. So since they both have this halacha of soul, why doesn't the brisa count the mechuber also? It's like the Gemara kiktani psul darabanan. All the psul that the brisa counts is only psul darabanan, but the brisa like tani psul is shma and mechuber is psul the brisa, and that's why the brisa doesn't count it. For the Gemara about koishol become the psul the raisu the chur the iser the this that they can't be written. Koishol become the chur is psul manatar because it says the Dvarim Perach of Dal Pasuk Aleph Kosel L'Sefer Krisos V'Nasam B'Yada. The Chachamim learn out It's only negaya for somebody that's shaykh din in sinas get. It's kosher to write a get, but a goy it's not shaykh and din in sinas get is not kosher to write it. So it's a lima deraisa. It's a deraisa of a ketani. It's still the brisa says it, even though it's psal deraisa. Zakti Gemara. It's talking about Be'edim Masira. This at the Mishnah Passos, a get and a shtar shechur that's written in our kois. Avdecham is talking about Be'edim Masira. There's Edim Ksherim that saw that the Baal gave over the get to the Isha. And the Mishnah holds Kerba Lazar Darmein Masira Karti. And they hold to Kerba Lazar that the Edim Masira, if they're Jews, the Yisraelim, they give value to the shtar. And you don't need to have at all the Edim assigned on the get. So Minat Torah, such a get is kosher, even though it was written in our Kodesh Elichavim, because you have kosher Edom in it. However, the Chachamim passled it. Why? Because, and even Rabbi Lazar's masking that it's possible with Rabbanon, because maybe you come to be Saimach on Eid Chasima and say that there should be Eid Masira also. That's what we're afraid of. So Hayos that this is also Psal Rabbanon, therefore the Brisa did count it. So Frak the Gemara, what do you mean about the Tani Seifa? It says in the Seifa of the Mishnah, Reb Shimon Omer, Af Eiler Reb Shimon says, also these Gittin that are in Akois or the Chums Ksherim, and the reason is Amar Reb Zera, Yor Reb Shimon Tashish Reb Elazar Darmei Masiri Karti. Reb Shimon looked into the Shita of Reb Elazar that holds a Masiri Karti. He holds like a Belazar that says Edim Masira, make the get, and therefore you did not pass a shtar. It's a chasima of the Edim that are nachrim, because he holds it doesn't make a difference. So Mechlal Zak the Gemara, it's Mashma. Tanakama Savar Aloi. Tanakama holds not like Shittas of Belazar, rather he holds like Rameir, the Edim chasima karti. And if Goyim sign it, it's Pasal Manatayra. So Ibizai, according to that Shita, like Rameir, the Chayr would be a Psal Dairaisa, so I would say the Brisa L'cher according to Rameir is including a Psal Dairaisa. So I wanted to recount the similarities of a Shema and Mechuber, which are also Dairaisa. So Zak the Gemara Ikabeinayu that no, Tanakama also holds like a Belazar Edim Masira Karti. It's not that one holds Edim Masira Karti, one holds Edim Chasima Karti. It's not the Machlekes. And that's why the whole psal is taka only the Rabbanon. Sai according to Tanakama, Sai according to Rameir. Ikabeinayu, the difference in Tanakama and Shimon is Lagabi Shemus Mavhakim. By Edim Goyim that have Shemus Mavhakim, that means you know for sure it's a Goyish name. Guy's name is Johnny, for instance. So according to the Tanakama, you get this puzzle because Edim Goyim, since Edim, they're Goyim and they signed in the Apostle D'Rabbanan, and maybe you come to be Saimach on them and to give over the get in front of them. So although the rice it's kosher, it's Apostle D'Rabbanan. Shimon holds that only by Shemus and a Nam of Hakim, Bezin was Choshish that will think that the Chosim Yisraelim. But Shemus of Hakim, since everyone's Makkah, the Chasimus Agoyim, we're not going to come to be Saimach and Machshir to get without Edim Masira being made on it. So in that case, he holds it won't even be Pasal D'Rabbanan. The whole Psal D'Rabbanan, the whole Chashash is only by Shemus V'Hakim. So Frekte Gemara, let's just see a little weiter because one Indian. V'Ha Chazara, the din of Chazara that we had before in the Brisa, the Shemer Meir, that if somebody says 10 gets ishti shash chazal avdi, the halacha is that both of them can be chayzer. The halacha Frekte Gemara l'chayr it's deraisa, because the chayr once the baal other than chayzer is he's being mevatel shlichus, which is deraisa. Uktanian still says that halacha. Zak the Gemara. The Gemara says another taras. The Gemara is chayzer from that whole idea of deraisa and derabanan. So the Gemara in different taras. Alakik tani. What is the Tana counting? Only most of the less of Kedushin. Halachas that are not noyig by Kedushin, only by Gittin and Shechur of Adam only. But most of the Yisuf Kedushin, halachas that are noyig is also by Kedushin, like Katani, Tana does not count them. And therefore, the Tana does not count the Psal of the Shema and the Psal of Get that's written in Gabi Karka, because a Get, a Shtar Kedushin that's written in Shalai Shema, that's written in Mechubla Karka, also has a halacha that is Pasal. And we learn it out from Yatzim Ybeisai, Yatzav Ahoiso, Makish, Kedushin to Gerushin, that has the same halachas, Gemara and Kedushin. So, fact, the Gemara about Chazara Gufa Isa B'Kedushin, L'chor, the din of Chazara, the din of Rameir, that's somebody tells a Shliach, Tanget Tzal Ish, Ishtach Chazal Avdi, if he wants to be Chayz, it's also by Kedushin. If somebody gives over to Shliach Shtar Kedushin, and he says, Kaddish Li B'Zeh Isha Ploinus, so Mishaleach Chayr could also be Chayzer, just like by Gittin. So like the Gemara b'shlichus bal karcha, we're talking about, the Tana is talking about on a shliach of the Baal or the Adin that's sent to Megarish's wife or his Eved bal karcha, forcefully. So the Begerish and Isa, that's only possible by Gerishin, because Gerishin can be done bal karcha, but the Kedushin lessa. The Kedushin, it's not possible to make a shliach to force somebody to Megarish's wife. It cannot be done bal karcha, only by Gerishin.